At that point I was doing guest spots on TV shows. So the normal route you go is you read for a casting director, and then if they like you, they'll bring you in for the producer calls. At that point I was able to bypass casting sessions and just go into the producer calls. So the first room I walked into on Seinfeld was just me, Jerry Seinfeld, and Larry David. And so I had to read for them. And they were laughing, and I thought, this would be great if it worked out. So my wife and I watched the show religiously on Thursday nights. And I remember 2 weeks before that audition, sitting on the couch with my wife watching Michael Richards, who just always made me laugh, and looking at her and saying, oh, why can't I be on the show? And then I got the audition, I got to be on the show. So, and it was just one episode. But they liked the character, and they brought him back, and we did the face painter episode. And then for the next 2 years, I was doing a show called Dave's World on CBS, and I got a couple Dave's World fans here. The only problem with that is that, Dave's World was a Friday night show that had very low viewership, and for those 2 years, I was getting calls from Seinfeld asking about availability, and I couldn't do it. But then Dave's World got canceled, and I crossed paths with Jerry, and then we were doing the American Express commercials together, where I did the voice of Superman, and that was fun. And he said, "Hey, you want to come on the show in our 9th and final season?" And I said, "Let me see if I can do this." And of course, I said, "Jerry, that would be great." So I did an interview in Australia one time, and I mentioned that I avoided Jerry Seinfeld like the plague. And of course, that's what makes news back in America. Patrick Warburton avoided Jerry Seinfeld like the plague. But the truth of that was that Jerry's a very, very sweet and gracious man, and lovely gentleman. But when you were lucky enough to be on that show, what you wanted to do was hit your marks, get your laughs, get out of the way, and then have them say, "Hey, like that character, bring him back." I knew that if Jerry and I were in a room together, just the two of us, it'd be a mistake, because I would just say something stupid or put my foot in my mouth and go, "Why did I say that?" So I just wanted to kind of stay out of his way and hopefully get invited back, because stage 9 at CBS Radford, when they were doing Seinfeld, that was hallowed ground. You always wanted to come back if they wanted you. Yeah.
So on the show, you were a huge Devils fan. Are you a Devils fan in real life?
Well, I became one, after that. They had sort of adopted me, and I'd become a mascot there, unbeknownst to me, because after that episode, on the Trinitron over the ice, they would show me screaming and yelling, "Go Devils," every game, and then they won the Stanley Cup for the first time ever that year. So I got this call, and they said, "Hey, we'd love you to come out for opening day for the Stanley Cup champion New Jersey Devils. You can do anything you want, sing the national anthem, raise the Stanley Cup banner, drop the puck." I go, "I'll drop the puck. Let's make it easy." And so I went out there, this is years ago, geez, back in like 97, I guess, 96 or 97. And I met my brother-in-law in New York, and we had a boozy night or two, and then showed up at the game the next day. And they said, they're going to paint my face, obviously, and they said, "Can we paint the D on your chest?" And I go, "I don't think that's a great idea. I don't think I'm going to walk out on that ice and take the jersey off. I'm just going to drop the puck, right?" "Come on, we'd love it if you put the D in your chest." "Put the D in my chest." So they paint this D in my chest, and I go, "All right, but probably not going to need it." So after a half hour of showing scenes, of the goals the last year, you got screaming hockey fans or fireworks. I'm standing in the wings, and they go, "From the cast of Seinfeld," which sounded great to me because I'd done 2 episodes. A cast member of Seinfeld, I like that. And everybody's on their feet, and I come walking out on the red carpet, and I drop the puck, and I shake the hands of the team captains, and As I turn around and I'm walking back on the red carpet, I slip. And I almost fall all the way to the ground, but I don't. I miraculously catch myself. And at that point, the whole auditorium, the whole crowd, ooh. And that's when I thought to myself, I'm so glad they put that D on my chest. So I slowly stand up and I stare the whole place down. Of course, everybody's curious. The jersey comes off, I've got the D, and then they all go insane. So, we have a sportscaster in Los Angeles, Fred Rogan, who does Fred Rogan's greatest hits at the end of the news every night. He goes, greatest recovery. It wasn't some guy making some miraculous catch. Patrick Warburton at the Devils game, he's falling, and then he stops, and then he goes, we couldn't have planned this. It's impossible to plan this. And so I got greatest recovery, and then after the Super Bowl that year, he did Rogan's Heroes Greatest Hits of the Year, and still, greatest recovery. You know, and as this thing just got bigger and bigger, I just thought, it's so ridiculous. From one episode of a half-hour TV show came all this, but...
That's amazing. So you have just an extensive career. You've been in so many things. You've been in film, television, commercials. You've voiced a lot of things, including video games. What are some of the major differences that you've noticed working on each of those, and what do you prefer?
Well, they're so different. You know, you enjoy, you have fun. There's satisfaction that comes from everything. I've always, you know, first and foremost, consider myself an actor, not even a comedic actor, but that's just sort of the, you know, the avenue, the road I ended up taking. I love doing voiceover work and cartoons. It's fun because when it all comes together, it's the concerted effort of so many artists. So you know, when we volunteer a voice to something, it's really just a small part of the whole, you know, you've got the concepts and the storyboards and everything, and then all the art that's done. And it's just great to be a part of that. It's always been very special to do anything Disney. When I got The Emperor's New Groove years ago, I'm a Disney file. I grew up loving Disney. That was, that's probably the most special character I've ever gotten to do in regards to animation, and get to be a part of that. It's interesting when you do, Disney's very secretive, so they give you 4 pages of a character, you know, and so I wasn't able to see the whole script. I just saw there was an Yzma and a Kronk, and I wasn't even sure what a Kronk was. It's animated, and I just thought, well, he's a henchman, but he seems reticent. And you know, I see some, you know, animation of the character. I didn't think maybe, you know, he was darker like that. That could have been interesting. Well, my spinach puffs got burned. Shame we're not going to have dessert. That could have been one way to go, but I just thought, oh, I thought it was sweet. The poison produced, got that poison. So that's the correct way to win. But you know what I realized was that they can have pages of character description, but they don't know what a character sounds like until they hear it. So anybody who's interested in doing voiceover work, that was the light bulb or the aha lesson for me, is that I would always look for the right way. And then all of a sudden I realized there isn't a right way. There's a creative way. You know, it doesn't mean not taking direction or being able to do things differently if it's asked of you. But if you bring something in and show them, this is what I think the character sounds like, you know, they might respond. In this case they did, and that all worked out. But yeah, I mean, for so long with so many different things I look at, it was always, you know, trying to figure out what the right way is, and then realizing, oh, there isn't a right way, you know, it's a creative way. So that's what I always encourage others to do.
speaking of Emperor's New Groove and Seinfeld, you have on more than one occasion been cast as, and this is as respectfully as possible, a well-intentioned meathead. Why do you think that is, and how do you feel about getting cast in those roles?
Well, it's, all of them, seem to be a little bit, even the Tick for that matter, and he's not, he's just unique or different, even Kronk is, just thoughtful, but I think there's like a naivete there, or this or that, and so you gotta color them different, because just pure dumb isn't funny, but you can have guys who are just, a little bit clueless or naive, and different aspects of their character, and they're just off a little bit, maybe, and that's fun, but yes, I have done a lot of, lamish, but it's come across pretty much as an adult.
So, what are some of your favorite roles that you've gotten to play throughout the years?
The Tick was a lot of fun. Wasn't fun wearing the costume, but I was not going to complain, and I figured if that's the cross I have to bear, then so be it, to get the opportunity to step into those shoes, because the Tick's an ingenious character, and that was a great opportunity. They'd slather my body in 2 tubes of KY jelly to get the suit on. That's how the suit got on every day. And then once the suit was on, it was on for the day.